Most people don't realize that Florida is already one of the most tax-advantaged states in the country for real estate ownership. No state income tax, no state estate tax, and a homestead exemption that caps annual assessed value increases at just 3%. But what just passed through the Florida legislature could make this peninsula even more compelling as a wealth-building destination. What just happened and why it matters. The Florida legislature has approved House Joint Resolution 1-F HJR1-F, a proposed constitutional amendment that would dramatically reshape how homeowners, investors, and businesses are taxed on their properties because it amends the Florida Constitution. The measure bypasses the governor's signature and goes directly to Florida voters in the November 2026 general election. It needs 60% voter approval to become law. Here's what's interesting. This isn't a small adjustment. If passed, HJR 1-F would increase the homestead property tax exemption to $150,000 on January 1st, 2027, and then to $250,000 on January 1st, 2028, with annual inflation adjustments built in going forward. For context, the current exemption covers $50,000. This is a 5 times increase in 2 years. What does this mean for homeowners in Sarasota and the Gulf Coast? For primary homeowners, those who claim Florida as their permanent residence, the savings potential is significant. The non-school portion of your assessed value would be exempt up to $250,000 by 2028, meaningfully reducing annual property tax bills, particularly as assessed values have climbed across Sarasota, Siesta Key, Longboat Key, and surrounding communities. The open-minded thing to consider: if you've been on the fence about establishing Florida as your primary domicile, this amendment gives you a powerful financial reason to act before January 1st, 2027. The portability of Florida's homestead exemption already allows you to transfer accumulated Save Our Homes savings when you move to a new primary home. Combined with a $150,000 to $250,000 exemption threshold, the numbers become even more compelling. New homestead incentive for new residents. HJR 1-F also introduces a transitional pathway for people who have not yet established Florida residency as of December 31st, 2026. New residents would receive a 5-year partial homestead exemption on the first $50,000 of assessed value, stepping up to the full exemption after 5 years. This is a direct incentive designed to attract new residents to Florida, and it reinforces what our data has shown for years. Inbound migration to the Gulf Coast continues to be fueled by tax advantages and quality of life. What about investment and commercial properties? What if I told you that the amendment could also benefit non-homestead property owners? Currently, assessed values for commercial and investment properties can increase by up to 10% per year for tax purposes. Under HJR 1-F, that cap would be reduced to 5% beginning January 1st, 2027. For investors managing portfolios of luxury rental properties, commercial buildings, or second homes along the Gulf Coast, this represents a meaningful reduction in long-term tax exposure. The amendment also establishes a framework requiring counties, municipalities, and school districts to participate in a uniform legislative process for considering further reductions in property taxes, potentially all the way to complete elimination for qualifying properties, subject to voter approval at the local level. The build, protect, transfer, lens. Just imagine owning Gulf Coast real estate with a $250,000 homestead exemption, a 3% annual cap on assessed value growth, no state income tax, and no state estate tax. This is not a hypothetical. This is the direction Florida is moving, and the voters of Florida will confirm or reject that direction this November. At the Coffey Group, we view every policy development through our Build, Protect, Transfer framework. HJR 1-F is a generational opportunity to protect more of your real estate wealth from taxation, not just while you hold it, but when you plan to pass it to the next generation. Lower annual tax exposure means more capital available for reinvestment, more flexibility in legacy planning, and a stronger foundation for intergenerational wealth. What to watch between now and November? The 60% voter approval threshold is significant. It means this is not a certainty. Between now and the November election, watch for public education campaigns, opposition from local governments concerned about revenue impacts, and commentary from school districts about the effect on school funding. Florida Realtors has been engaged in this conversation, and the 2026 legislative final report reflects ongoing advocacy for property owner protections. Your next step: The good news is you don't have to wait for November to start making moves that align with where Florida's tax landscape is heading. Whether you're establishing primary residency, repositioning a portfolio, or evaluating the right time to acquire property on the Gulf Coast, our team at the Coffey Group can help you build a strategy that captures these structural advantages. Call us at 9414-044-737 or visit thecoffeygroup.com to schedule a consultation. We don't just sell homes, we help you build, protect, and transfer wealth.